inviting to the stage, we have Tara Kinney, who is the CEO of Atomic Revenue. And the cool thing about Atomic Revenue is they are specifically geared towards helping clients figure out revenue operations issues. We are really excited to have her here sharing with the audience about better data, bigger budgets, and CFO love. You can have it all. Round of applause as we welcome Tara Kinney.
Thank you. Yes. Hey, everybody. I got to grab this mic, although no one ever accuses me of being quiet. So I'll try not to shout at everybody, but I am so excited to be here. As a matter of fact, last night I emailed Joel, and sometimes you get hashtag crazy, and I'm not a hashtag person. Other people tell me what hashtags to use, but I was like, data makes me giddy. I was like, you know what, that's really today, sitting here listening to everybody and all the different ways you can use data and all the different things that data allows you to do. We never used to be able to do those things. I mean, it was awesome to hear Jenny and Craig talk about the ways that they're using data, give you some insights. I'm going to try not to repeat too much of things that they said, but one of the things I loved is that a lot of the organizations we're working with are really starting at the beginning with the measurement strategy, the vision, the storytelling. How do I use data? How do I use data to unite people? So I'm all about how to find that common language. And how many of us have been in this conversation before, right? I have all this really great data and I've got a strategy to achieve those goals, and this is what we're going to do. This is how much it costs. This is what the data tells us. This is why we're going to do it. And the CFO says, yeah, so what does that mean for the business? What's the ROI going to be on you spending that budget? You know, really, we're watching our budget. And you get yourself all twisted up and tied up because you've gone through so much budget building, so much data, so much strategy to come with this fantastic plan. I mean, I've delivered like 16-page marketing strategies before, backed with tons of data. I get, yeah. So we're going to need to find some ways to cut that budget. I'm like, I just spent 3 months making this budget as small as it could possibly be. We're just not speaking the same language. So all of the things that we both are trying to achieve are just lost in translation. Because the things that we love in marketing are data related to our target market. I mean, we love data and dollars. Everything we do is data and dollars associated. But we're looking at our markets. We're looking at brand and what brand means, engagement, and customer journey. We love the customer journey. We're process people in marketing. We're all about the customer journey. However, we're having that conversation with the CFO. It's easy to see how the explosion happens, right? They love money and data too, but they want to know projections. The accounting, that's their source of truth. We're talking about data sources of truth. Yeah, well, look at accounting. That's where the real information comes from. I'm not sure where you got your data marketing, but I'm looking here in accounting and I've got something different. Profitability, we talked a lot about profitability and how data can be used. And then financing, how am I going to pay for that giant marketing budget you're proposing, right? I've got some real stress here if I'm the CFO and the data that I care about. I'm just talking an entirely different language. So today we're going to spend quite a bit of time talking about common language and how everyone in our marketing and sales organizations need to speak CFO language. We need to practice the love language of the CFO because data gives us that capability. Without the data, we used to go marketing all on instinct, all on what works, all on what people told us. We did market research. The people told us they like this more, so we're going to do more of that. Now we have data. Someone actually texted me last night, a CIO in a company, and said, oh my goodness, we cannot wait for you to come and help us with measurement strategy. We have so much data, but we have no information. Companies are like that today because MarTech and all of these other tools that we have are spewing out data, and we're all looking at different things. So if we're just trying to get alignment between what we're doing in marketing and all of the MarTech data and all of the MarTech business intelligence that we can have with the CFOs who approve our budget, that's going to be kind of the focus and theme today, is we need to look at our common core. So you heard Jenny mention it before, but Atomic Revenue is a revenue operations company. So we are not necessarily looking at all of the pieces separately. We're looking at every single thing that every single company does, and you can look at any of your neighbors in this room, does not matter. This is the spine of every organization, every business, every company has this same spine. They have different timelines. They have different departments that work within each of these layers. Every single company has this in common. The challenge is our data is entirely different about this spine depending on where you are in the organization. So marketing, and you heard a lot about it, is performance, activity performance data. How are the things that we're doing showing up and causing other activities to occur? Right? And that's what we're focused on. We're optimizing our budgets to get the most valuable activity. And lots of times we're entirely cut off from the information that the CFO is looking at. Well, guess what? The CFO is also entirely cut off from any of our data. So all they see is what we report to them. It's really hard to tie that together. We have access to two entirely separate data sets. We see the world differently. We don't speak the same language. So how are we going to get on the same page? I want to show you how this shows up in the boardroom. You guys are going to get some case studies today, and one of my big goals today is that everybody through these stories and case studies is going to be able to take something back to your own office, to your own organization, and say, aha, we had this and I know what I can do about it now. So, boardroom battle. End-to-end revenue production, you've got to get them in the pipeline, sales has to convert them into dollars, and service has to keep them, right? I mean, that's just the kind of basics of a revenue production model. If I went to the boardroom and I've got my heads of each of these departments and this is the numbers, I'm like, man, this is a good year. It's a good year. I mean, I've got conversion. We talked about conversion. I've got 550% increase in leads. Like, that's conversion from whatever activities I'm doing into the lead pipeline. And you know what? It matters because sales has a 67% increase in their pipeline, and it's all higher contract values. So, I mean, clearly marketing and sales are working together very well in this organization. And then service, I mean, they're kicking tail too because we're reducing our attrition rate. Oh, yikes. You're in this boardroom, CFO comes, he reports his data. You're like, who wins? Who wins this boardroom battle? The CFO wins all day. Guess what? If you are the marketing leader, the sales leader, or the service leader, you have officially lost all credibility. That 17-page budget and report that you just built, don't scrap it. Put it in the garbage. You're starting over right now. You are at ground zero. Everyone always says, how is this even possible? So it was really fun. I actually used this slide in a presentation that was a mixed audience of CFOs and marketing and sales leaders, and I started asking them, how does this happen? And any one of the groups would not have figured it out, but in most companies, it's the CFO who has to try to figure this out, and they don't know what the heck you're doing in marketing. They don't know what, I mean, sales, if I have to mediate another sales and marketing conversation about who did what to make that happen, just forget it. Neither one of you are getting your budgets. No, you can't hire that person. This is how it happens. So we talk about those vanity metrics, impressions and leads. In this case, both are vanity metrics. Lots of people talk about conversion. Not all conversion is created equal. We had a client once that launched a new campaign and they had huge new leads coming in. So they contacted us about why sales sucks. Our sales team can't sell squat. What is wrong with them? We have all these leads coming in. 86% of the new leads were never ever going to buy from them, and your sales team's calling all of those leads back. 86%, the number of leads entering your pipeline does not matter. We've seen a lot about finance today, but look at how high this cost per marketing qualified lead is. I mean, $7,500 per lead more this year versus last year. But I showed up at the board meeting with my great numbers. Sales, I mean, they don't have access maybe to the profitability, or maybe the company goal is increase revenue by 15% this year. Great, marketing and sales goes back and says, hey, you know what? Equipment sales, super high revenue. Let's drive our marketing and sales efforts at equipment. Oh, guess what? It's very low margin. We stopped selling the lower contract value but higher margin service agreements, and we started putting all of our money into the corporate strategic objective, which is to grow top line revenue. Guess what? We killed our profit margins by 18% this year. That's what the CFO has in his information. And guess what? There's no attrition rate on equipment sales, so service actually may not have done very much this year. It's just no one returned their equipment in the same year they bought it. So this is how the right data gets really messy in a boardroom, because we don't all speak the same language. We don't have access to the same information.